This is what happened. Again, a lot of people are trying to jump through all of the stages. And then they say, oh, I haven't closed the deal. You haven't closed the deal because you haven't even figured out how to pull and analyze data. Okay. The more, if you do stage 1 successfully, stage 2 become exponentially easier. If you try to figure out stage 2 before you figure out stage 1, your life become exponentially more difficult. You increase the chances you will never close a single deal exponentially. Are we making sense? Yeah. All right. So, and the same thing applies for every stage as you go through this process. It's actually it gets simpler. It just gets easier. So that's why you see me taking some time on the stage 1 data / contact, right? That's why you see me taking some time there. All right. So let's go here. Okay. So, I'm seeing within 1 mile radius, property is selling for as much as up to 970. Now let's look at what people are paying for properties that these are sold properties, by the way. There's another thing here. Okay, so I can go here under this filter. This filter is such a beautiful filter. You can see what cash buyers are paying for. So instead of you using this, there's a tool called dealestimator.com, which is a good tool to have in your arsenal. Dealestimator.com is on my website. Okay, dealestimator.com will allow you can also learn how we're able to come up with offers and things like that, right? When you click maximum allowable offer, right, you can start a new calculation from there, and you can see that I use 65% rule, that meaning I can only pay up to 65% of what the property is worth after repair. And not only that, I have to determine how much repair is needed. Minimum is small rehab. So I'm not buying a property that doesn't need any work. You can claim as a seller it doesn't need any work. I'm still going to assume it needs at least small rehab, about 5% of ARV, just an estimate for my own sanity when I'm putting in offers. So let's say, for example, let's not here. All right. Let me just see here. 1 second. Okay. All right. So let me make sure you can see my screen. Okay. So there's this filter right here that says cash buyer. This filter right here. You set this to cash buyer. Okay. There are 2 things I'm trying to show you here. Based off of cash buyer, you can see that average of cash buyers, people are paying $100,000 for properties in this area. This is so interesting. What I'm about to show you is so interesting. Cash buyers within the last 1 year, within 1 mile radius of our subject property of the day, paid $100,000. You can see that, right? It's basically averaging, but you can see if you sort this data, sort the column by clicking on the column header, but people paid as low as $46,000, right? And you can see this property is 1 mile radius. Let's sort by distance from the subject property by clicking on the column header here. So these are the closest property to the property, right? There's one on North 35. What's the address of this property? Exactly, North 35 Street, right? And you can see this property was bought by a cash buyer at $63,000, $72,000. So if you're able to find this property and you find it at $40,000, you're able to potentially make $20,000. If you find it at $50,000, you can make $10,000. If you find it at $30,000, you can make $30,000. This is a quick way to skip everything that you see on this calculator, right? The other way is, hopefully this is making sense. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment area later. The other way, let me show you really quickly. Let me take out this filter, this cash buyer filter, right? New construction, the other ones here. Okay, I'm just gonna take this out, right, and sort from high. This is all of the sales in the area, right, within the last. By the way, I like using 6 months ideally because there's too much data here right now. Let me just go ahead and go to 6 months only. 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right, so 6 months only. Sort, especially in a market that's unpredictable with the low inventory and stuff like that. I want to see what's going on in short term. All right, so you can see that that $1 million property is not on this list anymore, and you can see that there's a property here for 970 somebody sold. That's probably an outlier, right? How far is this property from this? It's 0.7 mile. It's literally around the corner. Another thing that I like to look at, especially if you're doing virtual wholesaling, is the subdivision area. So there's no subdivision listed with our subject property, which is 6042. But we also know that around the corner is, if we sort based off of distance, the nearest property is in subdivision Arthur Wens, right? And it's 6,000 and something, almost close to the same number, okay? Data analysis, okay? That's all we're doing, okay? This is what you're able to do right from your laptop without driving around for dollars and save you tons of headache, okay? Now, I wouldn't do analysis on this, on a property like this, by the way, until I'm actually in stage 3, right? Meaning somebody said, yes, I'm open to selling, and you're analyzing the property to see how much you should offer on the property. That's the stage where you will be making an offer on the property. But again, it's all part of data. That's why I said if you figure out data, a lot of things become a lot more easier. All right, so let's go here. So I can see that the subdivision is Arthur Wens, right? So I can sort based on subdivision and go to all the property in Arthur Wens. This is the 6,000, and see what they sold for. Just to trying to have an idea. This property sold for 190, sold for 150 in the same subdivision. Because you know when they say on the other side of the track in a city, when you're working as a virtual wholesaler, if you don't live in that city or around that state at all, these are the things you want to look out for. A little detail like this will tell you a lot when you're analyzing the property. So I could tell that house properties within the same subdivision of this property. Let's see here. Where is it? Where did they go? Okay, I think it's this. Where did they go? I gotta let's sort it back. Okay, right here. This one and this one. When I selected them, I'm showing 170. I can use that 170 as the after repair value based on the size of the property. There is a good chance that the $1 million houses, like the $750,000, they've developed, they've had it level, which is a good thing because that means there are ways to add value to a property in that neighborhood, meaning your investor can potentially make even more money. Okay, and if they're able to make more money, they pay you more. Okay, and they will never forget you, by the way. So, all right. So if I go here and I use this, I put that number here, 170. And I say small rehab, that's about 8,500. I'm able to pay up to 102 for this property. But I know that in that area,